Welcome back to One Stop Law. Now, in this video, let us look into a very popular maxim under the criminal law, that is Actus non facit reum nisi mensit rea. What does this maxim mean? This maxim simply means that the act itself does not constitute any guilt or crime unless it is done with a guilty intention. So basically, the maxim means that an act does not make anyone guilty unless there is some criminal intent or guilty mind acting behind it. So basically, this maxim constitutes of two parts. One is actus reus and the other is mens rea. What is actus reus? Actus reus refers to the wrongful act committed, or say the guilty act, okay, which can also be said the physical element to constitute the crime. It is the physical act which constitutes the crime. On the other hand, mens rea refers to the guilty mind, okay. It means the intention behind the act to do it, that is the intention to commit a crime. It is the mental element of the crime, okay. So basically the maxim says that to constitute a crime, one element is not enough, okay. Both of them, both the elements, that is the physical element and the mental element, should combine together, should comprise together to constitute a crime. So if in any crime either of the two are missing, that is either the physical element is missing or the criminal mind is missing, mental element is missing, it will not be considered as a crime. To constitute a crime, one must have both, that is the wrongful act committed along with the guilty mind behind it. So basically for actus reus, this wrongful act must be done voluntarily. That is, it should not be done under any pressure, any coercion. But there is this thing also, that this act does not mean that you are doing it, you have done it because of your negligence, because of your failure to take proper care or not. Okay, so where you had to take certain care and you did not take that care, suppose you were supposed to do a certain act with certain amount of diligence, you were supposed to drive your vehicle following the traffic rules and not drive it rashly and negligently on the road, but you drove it, and then you cannot say that, oh, I did not did it intentionally, it just happened. No, any act which requires proper amount of care and the person fails to take that proper amount of care, that constitutes the wrongful act, okay. That is considered as a wrongful act. And that absence of duty, to like your failure to exercise that proper duty, actually constitutes that mental element behind it. But of course it should not be done under any coercion, that is you cannot be forced to do an act. It must be done voluntarily. So even if you were negligent, you were voluntarily negligent towards it. On the other hand, mens rea refers to the mental element. So basically it must be an element that where a person should understand what is happening, what he is doing, and when he is committing that act, he must be aware of the consequences that he might be likely to face after the act is done. So he is very conscious about the nature of his act, what he is doing, as also at the same time he knows after doing the act what can be the consequences for it. Like if I am hitting at someone, I know that this hitting is wrong, okay. While doing the act, I know that I am hitting this person, and also that beating, that hitting is wrong, and I may be punished for that. So this is the mental element. While I am doing an act, I am consciously doing it, I know what I am doing, as also I know its consequences. So if suppose I am insane, or I am under some someone has intoxicated me against my will, and then then asks me to do something or makes me to do something, in such a situation I may not understand the acts I am doing, because I am intoxicated against my will. I don't understand the acts which I am doing. Forget about getting into its consequences, because I am not in my proper senses. So such cases do not constitute that mental element, and in this case we say that that mens rea is absent, and this does not give sufficient ground to make that person liable for a crime. So to conclude this video, we understood that actus non facit reum nisi mensit rea basically is a very integral maxim of criminal law. In our Indian law also, our Indian penal code depends on this maxim that without guilty intention, no act is liable to be treated as a crime. So crime has two major elements. The first is the guilty act, which is the physical element, and the second is the mental element, which constitutes the guilty mind, that is mens rea. Without a guilty mind, no act is said to constitute a crime. As you can see in this picture, this man is hitting this person. The act of hitting is named as actus reus. Now, the question is whether he has mens rea behind this act, like whether he is hitting him intentionally, whether he is hitting him with a guilty mind. So as you can see, the picture shows that in his mind he has, he wants him to be injured. He is thinking of the man, how he looks like after he beats him. So basically he knows why he is hitting him. He wants this man to get injured and get in a position so that he is wounded and having plastered all over his face. So he knows the consequence of his act. So basically, both his action of hitting him and that he mentally knows that ultimately the result he wants is this person to be injured and having some wounds. So that constitutes it as a crime. But think it in some other way. Suppose this person who is being attacked now in this picture, he retaliates, he hits him back. Now what is the reason why he is hitting him? Is he hitting him with the intention of again injuring him? No. This other person who is in the picture, we can see, is being hit now. If he hits, it will be an act of self-defense. That means his intention behind beating this person, the attacker, is just a pure intention to defend himself and not any previous intention or planning on manipulation that he wanted to hit him first. Because he has been hit, he is just retaliating, he is protecting himself. His action is self-defense. So if this person hits back and this person is injured, the first man is injured, then we call it that this person does not have any mens rea. He does not have a guilty intention. His intention is only to save himself. The consequence of his intention is to save himself from the attacker. So that is why if this person hits back, that will not be considered as a crime. Whereas as you can see in the picture, the attacker who is hitting the man is having the intention, he wants the result that this person to be injured. So that is why his act will be considered as mens rea. I mean, his act is considered to be a crime as it has both the physical element, that is the act of hitting, the wrongful act of hitting, as well as the guilty mind of mens rea. Consider another case, like if it is a case of pure accident, someone wants to shoot a bird in a legal way. Like suppose a shooting competition is going on where people are shooting birds, and somehow a bullet is misshot and it hits a person. Now this is a complete case of accident because it was a legal act being done. There was a legal shooting competition being allowed where this shooting was legal. So we cannot consider take that act being wrongful act. It was a legal shooting competition going on, and somehow a person came in there and he got hit by that bullet. So that is a mere case of accident. Here neither there is wrongful act nor there is a guilty intention behind it. So therefore this is a pure case of accident which does not constitute a crime. So in short, actus non facit reum nisi mensit rea means to constitute crime under criminal law, both the elements, the physical act of wrongful act along with the mental element of mens rea must be present to constitute a crime. That's all for this video. Till I see you in some other lecture. Thank you all.